This book is called Favorite Pillow Time Tales, and I have read one of the stories from here already, the one down here, Mr. Bear's House. Well, my little granddaughter Millie wanted me to read the story about the pony, so we're going to do that today. This story is called Chester the Little Pony. Chester was a pony on Farmer Miller's farm. He was a young pony with a warm brown coat, a shaggy mane, and long, thick tail, which he swished around to chase the flies away on a summer day. Farmer Miller gave Chester a good home. He saw that he had plenty of fresh, cool water to drink and hay and oats to eat. But Chester was not quite happy. He had no one to play with. Farmer Miller had cows and a goat and chickens and ducks and a dog named Scott, but he did not have a horse. He had a tractor, and tractors are not much fun for ponies. So Chester was a lonesome pony. Farmer Miller liked the pony, but when Chester was full grown, he could not keep him any more. If Chester had been a horse, he might have pulled the plow and the thresher and earned his keep on the farm. But he was just a pony, and he could not do hard work. So Farmer Miller went to see a man who owned other ponies. His name was Baxter, and he bought Chester from Farmer Miller and put him in the stable along with his other ponies. On Saturdays and holidays, little boys and girls were taken for rides on Mr. Baxter's ponies, around and around in a circle. The first time Mr. Baxter put a saddle on Chester's back, Chester was very frightened. He jumped and kicked and tried to shake it off. After a while, he got used to it. Later, Mr. Baxter put his boy Tim in the saddle and led Chester around and around. Chester liked it, and soon when he walked around the circle with the other ponies on Saturday and holidays carrying little boys and girls on his back, he felt very happy. He grew to love the children and wanted to be with them all the time. But on all the days except Saturdays and holidays, Chester stayed in the stable most of the time. There were other ponies to keep him company, and he was given good care with fresh water and hay and oats. Still, he did not like to stay indoors so much. He wondered where all the little boys and girls might be who came to ride him on Saturdays and holidays, and why they didn't come on other days. He could not know that Baxter's Rides was open only on Saturdays and holidays. One afternoon, Chester had been taken out for a short run and then led back to his stall in the stable. He was thinking of all the children who would have liked a pony ride, and he was wondering where all the little boys and girls might be. After a while, he noticed that Mr. Baxter had forgotten to tie him in his stall. So he went to the stable door, and when he gave it a push, the door opened, and out went Chester. He was surprised to be outside, but also pleased. He thought that maybe he could go and find some of the boys and girls who would like to have a pony ride. Mr. Baxter was in the house and did not see Chester wander away. Chester knew that the children did not live in Mr. Baxter's house. Only Tim lived there with his father. Soon it got dark, and Chester could not see very well. But he saw lights from some houses in the distance. He thought he had better go there and look for the children. A little light came from the back of the first house, and Chester thought he would go up the back steps. But when he tried to go up the stairs, he could not do it. Ponies cannot climb stairs. There were several large empty milk bottles on the stairs. Chester was so clumsy that he stumbled and knocked over one bottle, which in turn knocked over all the other bottles. The bottles made a terrible noise as they bumped down the steps. They rolled on down the hill, banging against rocks and rattling and clattering. The noise scared Chester so that he ran away as fast as he could go. The people in the house heard the big commotion and rushed out to see what had happened. They saw the empty bottles rumbling and clanging and crashing away until they hit some trees with a loud boom, boom. But by that time, Chester was disappearing fast down the road, and they did not even hear his hoofs as he galloped away. Chester was dismayed, but not discouraged. When he came to the next house, he was careful not to go near the stairs. He walked searchingly around the house. Now the mother who lived there had washed the family clothes that day and left the wash on the line to dry until she had finished the evening chores. In the dark, Chester walked right into the clothesline. When it stopped him, he was quite annoyed and pushed with all his might. Snap! The line broke and all the fine, clean clothes fell on the ground. Except a big white sheet which landed right over Chester's head and back. This frightened Chester greatly, and into a gallop he went fast away. The people in the house heard the noise and ran out, but all they could see were the nice clean clothes scattered on the ground and a white sheet flying away down the road. The people were scared too, for they could not see that it was only Chester running so fast. After a few blocks, the big sheet sailed off Chester's back and landed like a parachute among some bushes. Chester now realized that if he were to find the boys and girls to take for a pony ride, he would have to be more careful. So when he came to the third house, he just walked quietly up to a window where a light was shining. Sure enough, there were children inside, a whole lot of them, playing with blocks and dolls and trains. They looked so kind and friendly, he wondered how he could make them come out for a ride. "Nay, nay," he said. "Nay, nay," and he pressed his nose close to the window pane. Suddenly one of the little boys cried up, "A horse!" And then the mother looked at the window and let out a scream. "Ah!" For there was Chester's nose flat against the glass and his ears sticking up above his big, curious eyes. The father quickly telephoned to the village police and said, "Help! A wild horse is breaking through our window." And then the police came in the police car with shrieking sirens and heavy clubs. But Chester could not take his eyes away from the nice children. And when the police came, there was the pony still staring at the little boys and girls through the window and wondering how he could make them come out for a pony ride. The police said, "Why, it's only a little pony." And when the children saw Chester, they said, "It's the pony from Baxter's Rides. It's the pony we ride on Saturdays and holidays. Please, may we take him back to Mr. Baxter?" So they put a rope around Chester's neck, and they all led him back to the stable. Mr. Baxter had missed Chester and was afraid he had lost his best pony, whom the children liked to ride better than any of the other ponies. He was glad when they brought Chester home, and he patted him and gave him extra oats for his supper. Then he said to the children, "Perhaps Chester went away because he was lonesome for boys and girls. Maybe he wants you children to ride him every day and not only on Saturdays and holidays. Could you come and ride him on the other days too?" The father and mother said yes, and the children said, why, of course, they would love to ride him every single day themselves. They went to Mr. Baxter's stable and took Chester out for nice long pony rides. And from that time on, Chester was a happy pony. And on the back of this book, we have another picture of Chester. Chester loved children, loved to play with them.